Have you ever heard of a creature so powerful, so immense, that even the bravest warriors would tremble at its sight? A beast that breathes fire, whose scales are like impenetrable shields, and whose home is the chaotic depths of the sea. Today, we're rediving deep into the ancient world to uncover the story of one of the most fearsome and fascinating creatures in all of mythology, the Leviathan. This isn't just some sea monster. It's a symbol of chaos, a test of faith, and a pivotal character in a cosmic drama. So grab your gear, because we're about to explore the swirling waters of history, theology, and mythology to understand the true meaning of the Leviathan. The most vivid and terrifying description of Leviathan comes from the book of Job, one of the oldest texts in the Hebrew Bible. After enduring immense suffering, Job questions God's justice. Instead of a simple answer, God responds with a series of questions designed to highlight his own omnipotence and Job's limited understanding. And the grand finale of this divine speech, a detailed, awe-inspiring portrait of Leviathan. In chapter 41, God asks Job, "Can you pull in Leviathan with a fishhook or tie down its tongue with a rope?" The answer is a resounding no. God describes a creature whose back has rows of shields tightly sealed together. Its sneezes flash forth light, and its eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. Out of its mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth. This is no ordinary animal. It's depicted as a living embodiment of untamable power. The text even says that when it rises up, the mighty are terrified. It sees every high thing. It is king over all the children of pride. This description is crucial. Leviathan isn't just a monster. It's a symbol of everything that is beyond human control. For Job, who lost everything and couldn't understand why, Leviathan represents the raw, chaotic forces of the universe that humans simply cannot conquer or comprehend. God's point is that if Job can't even face a creature like Leviathan, how can he possibly understand the mind of the one who created it? But the story of Leviathan doesn't start or end with Job. To truly understand this creature, we have to look at the cultures that surrounded ancient Israel. In the ancient Near East, creation stories often involved a heroic deity battling a monstrous sea serpent that represented primordial chaos. For example, in Babylonian mythology, the god Marduk defeats the sea goddess Tiamat, who often took the form of a serpentine dragon. He splits her body in two to create the heavens and the earth. This is a classic Chaos-camped motif, the battle against chaos. Similarly, in Ugaritic texts from ancient Syria, the storm god Baal battles a seven-headed sea serpent named Lotan, a name very similar to the Hebrew Leviathan. These stories were part of the cultural air that ancient Israelites breathed. So when the biblical authors wrote about Leviathan, their audience would have immediately recognized the type of creature they were talking about, a symbol of cosmic chaos and a rival to divine order. However, the Bible does something radically different with this myth. In the Babylonian and Ugaritic stories, the battle between the god and the sea monster is a struggle. It's a genuine fight, and the outcome isn't always certain. In the Bible, however, there is no struggle. Psalm 74 says, "It was you who crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert." And in Psalm 104, which celebrates God's creation, the tone is even more surprising. It says God formed Leviathan to frolic there in the sea. Think about that for a moment. This terrifying symbol of chaos, this fire-breathing monster, is described as God's pet, a creature made to play in the ocean. The biblical writers took a powerful symbol of chaos that other cultures feared and essentially demoted it. They were making a powerful theological statement. The forces that other nations see as rival gods or terrifying, untamable chaos are, to the God of Israel, nothing more than a plaything. The chaos monster isn't an equal opponent to God. It's part of his creation, completely under his control. It's a powerful way of declaring God's absolute sovereignty over everything, including the most chaotic and frightening parts of existence. So, we have Leviathan as a symbol of untamable nature in Job, and as a defeated or even playful creature in the Psalms. But its story continues into later apocalyptic literature. In texts like the Book of Enoch and other later Jewish writings, Leviathan takes on an eschatological role, meaning it's tied to the end times. In these versions, Leviathan is often paired with another massive creature, the land monster Behemoth. The story goes that at the end of days, a great battle will ensue, and these two colossal beasts will be slain. Their flesh will then be served at a great banquet for the righteous. This imagery found its way into Christian tradition as well. Leviathan becomes a symbol of Satan or the forces of evil that will be definitively defeated by God at the final judgment. In this context, Leviathan is no longer just a symbol of natural chaos but of spiritual and moral evil. The ultimate defeat of Leviathan represents God's final victory over sin, death, and the devil, ushering in a new era of peace and divine order. So, what is Leviathan, really? A dragon? A crocodile? A whale? People have tried to identify Leviathan with a real-world animal for centuries. The description in Job has led many to suggest a Nile crocodile, especially with its armored scales and powerful presence. The problem is, crocodiles don't breathe fire or smoke. Others have suggested a whale, given its immense size and connection to the sea. But again, the fiery attributes don't match. Some modern biblical scholars propose that Leviathan might be a mythologized memory of an extinct creature, or perhaps not an animal at all. It's more likely that the author of Job wasn't trying to write a zoology textbook. They were using poetic language and drawing from a shared pool of ancient mythology to create a super creature, combining the most terrifying traits of various animals and then some to make a theological point. The point wasn't to describe a specific animal, but to describe a level of power that is utterly beyond human scale. Leviathan is a thought experiment in creature form. This brings us to the deeper meaning of Leviathan for us today. We may not believe in literal sea monsters, but we all face our own Leviathans. These are the overwhelming problems that feel too big to handle. A devastating diagnosis, a global crisis, a personal failure, or the chaotic, unpredictable nature of life itself. These are the things that make us feel small and powerless, just as Job did. The story of Leviathan offers a unique perspective on this. On one hand, it acknowledges the reality of these terrifying forces. The Bible doesn't pretend that chaos isn't real or that life isn't scary. It gives it a name and a face: a fire-breathing dragon. It validates that feeling of being overwhelmed. But on the other hand, it consistently places this chaos under the ultimate authority of a sovereign and benevolent creator. The same God who challenges Job with the untamable power of Leviathan is the one who ultimately restores him. The God who the psalmist says crushes Leviathan's heads is the same God who is a refuge for his people. The message is one of profound hope. It tells us that even the most chaotic, frightening, and seemingly unconquerable forces in our lives and in the world are not beyond God's reach. The story shifts our focus from the size of our monsters to the greatness of the one who created the universe. The power that made Leviathan to frolic is the same power available to bring order to our chaos. In the end, Leviathan is much more than just a sea serpent. It is a complex and evolving symbol that has journeyed through millennia of human thought. It's a symbol of primordial chaos, a testament to God's creative power, an icon of evil to be defeated at the end of time, and a mirror reflecting our own struggles with the overwhelming forces of life. It's a creature of myth that teaches a profound truth. While we may not be able to tame the monsters, we can trust in the one who can. The story of Leviathan isn't just about a beast in the sea. It's about finding faith in the face of fear and order in the midst of chaos. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the legend of Leviathan. What do you think Leviathan represents? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient myths and their meaning, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more journeys into the fascinating stories that have shaped our world. See you next time.